Okay, so as you're having this discussion, one thing I've seen, which is what I'm doing right now, is I'm lecturing. Okay, so some people come in and like, yeah, this is what Islam said, right? You don't want to do that. You want to have a conversation, a dialogue, right? Right now, you and I are not having a dialogue online, but you want to have a dialogue. So you want to explain to them something and get their feedback. Ask an open-ended question. This is really, really important, because otherwise it's like, yeah, yes, and then they walk out and they don't understand what you have said. And same thing applies when you're giving them dawah, when you're explaining Islam to them. So ask open-ended question, see how they're thinking, check in to make sure they've understood it or not. Let them be comfortable, let them speak to you and be authentic to you. If they don't agree, what have you, let them be authentic to you. Many people use Arabic terminologies, keep explaining to them. If you keep using Arabic terminologies, add the translation. You have to change who you are as well, right? Many times, you say, sometimes I see like someone saying, salah, right? Or Urdu, that people say like namaz, right? And that's how they're talking to the convert. So, sometimes they will ask, hey, what does that mean? So you have to have that rapport that they can ask you, and you also have to be self-aware to keep those translations going on. So something, again, going back, like I like to use the story when I'm inviting non-Muslims as well as a new Muslim to understand what's going on. This world is not a resort, okay? It's not a banquet. It's not a dinner. It's not a retreat. It's not that Allah has thrown out for his people, that there's supposed to be no pain and Allah will take care of everything. You just come and chill and wake up and you have food and everything. No, it is a training and development ground. So when you go to the gym, you have a coach, you have a mentor, you have a teacher. They're not going to make you comfortable. They're going to challenge you in different situations, in different capacities. And then you learn and you grow, and then you become better. Sometimes you make mistakes, but then you learn from those mistakes. So this is what the story of Adam alayhi salam is. If you want to have a quick recap, you can slow it down, walk them through it, that Allah created a human being. Allah also has another creation, which is angels. They are with us. They support us. They give us good whispers. They encourage us to do good things. They don't disobey Allah. And Allah is perfectly able. He already has angels. So the goal is to have this interesting creation, which is the human being who has a free will. So you kind of walk them through it. And then how this question of evil on earth and so on and so forth, that's not a new question. The angels asked that question. So Allah explained to them that, look, I know what you don't know. And if you think about it, this is really, really beautiful how Allah has created us. And yes, we are able to do bad things, but we're also able to repent. We're also able to be generous. We're also able to be courageous and so on and so forth. So why did Allah create man, right? Because that shows, that really shows us a lot of other attributes of God, of Allah, that we wouldn't have been seeing if there was no human being. Right? This is what shows you the mercy side of Allah, the forgiving side of Allah, the accepting of repentance, at-Tawwab, ar-Rahim, al-Ghafur. And it also shows you that Allah is able to punish people who transgress, who disobey, and He is severe in retribution, and so on and so forth. Okay, then the tests happen, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first tested the angels. We can introduce the concept of Satan, right? So angels obeyed, Satan did not obey. But the reaction was, right? Now, what Satan did is he didn't obey. And on top of that, he justified that he has the right to disobey, as if a'udhu-billah, Allah has made the wrong choice. He justified that he shouldn't be prostrating to Adam, right? So he never was sorry. He justified what he did and so on and so forth. Now, on the contrary, Allah gave everything to Adam alayhi salam, eat, drink, no pressure, no work, no taxes, nothing. You can chill here. Just one boundary: don't eat from this tree. Don't eat from this tree. Allah also told them that there's an enemy of you, that's Satan. Now, Allah didn't say, the people who keep going after, why is alcohol prohibited? Why is pork prohibited? Why do we even have to wear hijab? Why can you do this? Why can you do this? Like, it's all about the why. You don't realize the who behind it, that it's Allah who is commanding you to do that. And that's a dawah topic on the side. You can see that in our dawah training. But the point being that, Allah didn't give them a reason that the tree has fat or cholesterol, or it's not keto friendly, or this and that, or body fat, or all that. No, nothing. You know, you respect me, I've given you everything. Everything is open for you, just this tree. And that's what Shaitan did. He kept bugging them and promising them that this is really great. You're going to really be finding it amazing. You will become like angels. You will never die, this, that. And he does the same thing. We have so many things that are halal and permissible, only a handful of things that are impermissible. And he focuses our attention to impermissible. And, and that's all we keep focusing about. That's what he did to them. And they fall into it. However, the difference was that they were sorry, right? They repented. And that's one of the great things. Sometimes converts or anybody else, they come in, they want to be perfect. If they make a mistake, they keep making more mistakes. They're like, okay, I give up. No, you get up, you fall down, you get up, pick yourself up and start moving forward. Ask Allah for repentance, do more good deeds, and so on and so forth. And that's why we came here. Now we have a test. We have a certain amount of time in this world, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, whatever it is. And we are being tested. How are you going to use our life? What choices we will make with our life? Then we have a life of grave. Life doesn't end at death. You have a transition into life of grave. And then the life of grave could be a business class flight or a really miserable flight. And then you make it to paradise, inshallah. Or the alternative is hellfire. So when we worship Allah, when we obey Allah, when Allah is commanding us to pray, this is another mentality here. It's not that it makes Allah bigger or better or more powerful. It is for us. This is our iman, our faith in action. It gets us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we see in this beautiful hadith. That's how we earn and cherish the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by doing good deeds. The more good choices we make, and good choices are the prayers, it's also being kind to your family, it's also smiling and being gentle and kind to your family and other people, generous to other people in the community, and so on and so forth. All these things are good things that Allah has commanded, He loves, and this all gets us closer to Allah. However, the things that are a must, like the 5 daily prayers, the fasting for those who can, and so on and so forth, that's the big wins. That's the big wins. For example, if someone has a shop and they sell different things, maybe they sell a phone and they make like 50% profit on that, and then they may be selling like chocolates and candies or phone covers. They may not make as much profit on that. So the obligations are the one that's going to give you the most success. So you can't, for example, you can't say, oh, I'm going to miss my fajr. You'll have to do a lot more to be able to catch your prayers. So you want to help them understand. It doesn't have to be in the first meeting, but over time you want to depart this understanding and make sure they understand these concepts. So this is again a quick quiz, making sure that they understand what this world is about. So if, by the way, for other things, like especially if they have non-Muslims, friends and family members, there are some other links and playlists that people can use to check out what Islam is and whatnot. So that's a side benefit, more of dawah content. So what I would like you to then do is after this call, after you've watched the recording, try to have a dialogue, maybe work with a friend, a family member, just practice it out. The more you practice, the more comfortable you will become. So don't hesitate, oh, I haven't practiced, I don't know. Just practice. If you don't have anyone, just practice in front of a mirror, but ideally find someone that you can actually practice this first conversation. You meet someone, he or she is a new Muslim. What are you going to say? Okay, so again, the way you should be doing is in a discussion way, not a monologue, a dialogue, asking open-ended questions, understand what they're thinking, check in, see if they're making sense, let them repeat it back to you, and so on and so forth. So after that, we will go into saying, look, now that you understand Islam, you understand the path, now we have to talk about a plan on how you will work out that plan. But we'll pause here. Let's see if there are any questions about that, and then we can go into the further modules. The further sections of module 4.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question. Mashallah, it is, we are module 4, and like everything you talk about in module 1 and 2 and 3 is great points, and I'm keeping that in my mind. And like with my experience with as a mentor for new Muslims, and we're doing it online, because of the COVID, etc. So it is like, okay, I'm talking with them, they reply back, and like, oh, this is your best way of communication, texting. So which is okay, fine, but it is like now if I want to talk about this stuff, texting is not going to work for us. And like over here, I'm finding that problem is like I cannot get them to give me a time to start talking about this stuff. So what should I do?
Fantastic, brilliant. And that is something that happens. I think it's a rare situation, but it does happen. So that's a great question, Jazakallah khair. So yeah, so that's basically the person is pushing away, right? Pulling away. So now the question is, you'd have to have that serious conversation with them that, look, there's a lot to talk about, right? What is Islam? What does Islam mean to you? How do you practice Islam, right? Are you going to any classes, right? Is there someone who is teaching you these things? You can then maybe ask questions, like open-ended questions. Do you understand what Islam is, right? What do you need to do to be successful? How do you, just send them these questions. Right, obviously the topics, for example, that we have discussed, do you think that you have accepted Islam? Is that good enough? As an example, what do you need to do further, right? So you can ask them these open-ended questions, and obviously they won't be able to send you back like 10 paragraphs of text. Hopefully they won't do that, right? Then the question would be like, how do you want to learn about those things? I can, for example, send you a link to a video or a module, and you can watch it by yourself. And then, we can set weekly goals, and then you can let me know if you have any questions about that module, or if you have completed that module or not, or you can text me about what are your top learnings from that module. Would that work? Right? I can't teach you a religion over text, right? So you really have, I think, 3 or 4 options. One is you do self-learning by signing up for e-courses, and I will support you with any questions that you have. Option 2 that you have is you go to an in-person class, right, where you have teachers and whatnot. Option 3 is that maybe you're not ready to make time. So I would suggest you some YouTube channels and some apps that you can, subscribe to, so you're getting motivation on how to do that. And then once you have enough motivation, then we need to, start talking. Well, how would you pray? Like, for example, if you have to learn how to pray, can you learn how to pray just by text, without watching any video, without having a conversation, without me checking on you, right? Can you, for example, just learn how to work out just by text? You can, but that's so inconvenient and so less efficient, right? So I would think that it is some sort of a motivation issue if they're saying that in general, unless there's a special circumstance. And then you need to work on the motivation, right? Then you'll be like, okay, are you able to watch videos? Maybe I'll give you like 10 minutes videos, and this is something that we'll talk about, some resources on motivation and learning, and maybe you make a target of it, and then you watch it, and then you tell me your key takeaways from there, and then we'll keep doing that until you're ready, and then we learn how to pray, for example.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. And like another thing I do is like I ask them like what you are expecting from me as a mentor. And usually that, most of the time, like, okay, we would like to know resources, resources that they can use to learn more about faith. So I think that is what I'm understanding now from your conversation. That is not enough. Just to tell them these are the resources is not good enough. I need to follow up with the question on what they learn from these modules or whatever they are watching the YouTube or stuff, so I can keep them involved and not just only give them resource, but keep them with me, like, so we can discuss these in person.
Yes,
or something like
absolutely. Yes. And we will give you resources, right? And that may be the worst scenario, right? That you can, if you remember from module 1, yes, that's been the common approach, that people would hand out a book or a box or a gift box, and then you leave it at that, right? We know that it doesn't happen like that, right? And again, sometimes we'll have to push it, right? I mean, if our goal is, okay, how do I get this individual who has some interest? I have his or her contact, he has some interest. My goal is to, get them to pray 1 prayer a day. Then my goal is to get them to pray 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, right? That's my personal goal, right? To be honest, like just a selfish goal, because Allah knows if they will pray or not, to be honest, right? Everybody, Allah knows, what their heart level is. I don't have the technology, but Allah knows. The question is, I want to try it, and Allah will reward me for trying. Yes, you can try, here are the resources, Assalamu alaikum. You can do that, but, that's not putting in good effort, right? That's not something, that you would do for your own business, for example, right? So we can do better than this, unless obviously if the person is like really closed down, then we give it to them and then we move on to someone else. but the better effort would be for us to, to do the work. It takes patience. It wasn't easy for the messengers either. However, it's much easier for us, right? Nobody, slaps us for saying this or shuts the door at us. They faced a lot of persecution, a lot of abuse for that. Okay, no problem, Mr. Fatima. We'll see you in the next one, and inshallah you can catch up on recording. Yeah, so that's what I would say, that try to get them engaged, because it's very easy for people to be distracted and not be self-motivated. And some of the things that we will talk about right now in the next module, discuss a plan, we'll talk about it. That look, if you want to be successful, in any area of your life, it's proven that even if you just want to, for example, be more physically fit, your success rate is going to be much higher if you have a mentor, if you have people around you that are doing that, if you have a coach, if you are meeting a coach or instructor once a week and what have you, the success rate is going to be way higher. Any other questions? So maybe, what I'm thinking, I think we can maybe pick up the rest of the sections from next week, from a suggested plan sort of thing, and we'll stop here for today, so we can just keep the remaining time. How much time we have? We have 7 minutes actually. So yeah, maybe, if there are no more questions, we'll do another section, and then we can wrap up for today. Okay, so let's do that, inshallah.